Next up, we've got dry packs. That's because we're going to be in a boat. It's going to be wet. All of this gear here, plus your frame packs, needs to be able to go into a dry bag. A couple of dry bags we like are made by Seal Line. There's a little smaller version. This will actually hold all this gear laying here. Won't quite take a frame pack in it, but you can always attach it to the frame pack. This is the bigger version. This particular dry bag is almost 15 years old. It's never torn, it's never failed. They float, they're 100% sealed. I can get my frame pack and all my gear into this one bag. It's probably my favorite bag. Also has this great thing on the back, so you can backpack out if you have to with it. So definitely something to look at when you're looking at dry bags. Make sure they're good quality PVC, tough, well sewn seams and stitches. If you're wondering what a caribou rack looks like, that's just a nice representation of one. This is probably about a 4-year-old bull. My wife shot this, he's all in velvet, so I saved it for her. He definitely, by the time he's 5 or 6, he'd be 4 or 5 times this size. But that's just a good representation of a good caribou bull. All in velvet. They turn out real pretty. Saved him for her. Another dry bag I like, made by Seal Line and Watershed. More of the duffel bag type. This one in particular has a Ziploc seal on it. And for those of you that don't think that would hold, I would challenge you to get it undone any other way than that's prescribed by the manufacturer. When this is sealed, this is a great bag as well. Anything that's waterproof that you can throw in is a good bag to bring. Get all your gear into it, have it prepared. They fly well, all that good stuff. We're gonna get into some miscellaneous gear here. Things that you should bring with you in the field. Always have a roll of duct tape with you. You can't ever go wrong with duct tape. So we keep the duct tape around. You're going to want to have some knives. You'll find that I carry as much weight in knives as I do anything else. I've got a standard, just all around good butcher knife. A little bit smaller version of that to get in some tight places. Nothing is unparalleled compared to a fillet knife. This takes out backstrap and makes bone in on anything or stripping ribs just absolutely fantastic. So I carry those 3 knives. I also carry an emergency fire starter. There isn't much for starting fires up there, but in the event you had to, you never ever really want to leave home without one. So whatever you use in emergency fire starter situations, it's something to carry with you. Lighter, waterproof matches, wax cotton balls, anything like that. Next is optics. Good set of binoculars is really no more than you need for glassing up there. These are 8x42 fields. They're waterproof. They're made by Leupold. I run the complete harness strap. I like them right here on my chest. These have never failed, 60 below to being completely submerged in water for days. So I really like a good set of binoculars. I also have a Leupold scope. It goes to 60 power that I'll take up and platform up. Definitely reach out there farther, but a lot of times for caribou, these will reach too far, and you won't actually be able to get to the caribou that you're seeing with this. But if you really want to zoom in on one, good spot and scope can come in handy. It's also nice just to glass sometimes. If you're going to bring a spot and scope, I suggest you bring a small packable tripod. That's light. That extends out to, I believe, 24 inches. Completely rotatable and adjustable. I do have a bigger version of that for a camp. Obviously for us, we're up there all the time. Bigger tripod, you can stand up, look around with it. Not something you need to bring. It's really not. If nobody's ever been introduced to them, the Garmin InReaches, and this is by far and away the greatest savior you can have. It's a subscription. You can turn this on and off at will month to month. This is truly the only form of communication I've ever found in the world that is 100%. Satellite phones don't always work, but this does. This has GPS coordinates, location. It Bluetooths to your phone. You can send text messages to your family. They can actually get on a computer at home and see where you're at, minute to minute, and see how your progression is, up what rivers you're at, where you're exactly at. But the best feature of this is in an emergency situation, this has an SOS button. And you hit that SOS button, and they will send whatever force necessary to come get you, transport you out, and get you to the nearest medical facility. And it's at no cost to you. And a prime example of that is if you have to take a plane flight for some unforeseeable reason out in the field from where we're at, you're looking at about $35,000 to get back to Fairbanks and upwards of $50,000 to get to Anchorage. And of course it gets worse on to Seattle. Your monthly subscription to this pays for all of that. And plus the communication factor is excellent. We use these in our own group to communicate back and forth between each other. I can send a guy out in the field a text message, he can talk back to me. They're waterproof. They have a 100-hour battery life between recharges. They're an excellent tool to carry with you and always have on you. For those of you that are worried about bugs, there may be bugs. Nets work. There may not be bugs, depends on the day. But there's nothing better than Ben's 100% deep. I've lived here for 25 years and this is the only thing, and it must be 100% deep, that will keep the bugs off of you if you are not clothed for bugs. One of these bottles will last you a couple weeks. It doesn't take much. I have them in every vehicle I own and every backpack I've got. We've had a lot of talk about what weaponry you should take. I shoot a 4-12 scope on a 300 Weatherby mag. Shot it for 20 years. Truthfully, you can shoot caribou with a 223 all the way up to a 338. Tundra is definitely an equalizer when it comes to judging distance. There aren't any trees. It'll be deceptive at first until you get used to it. I like to zero in for 300 is a good number. You generally probably won't take a shot over 2, but it's always good to have 300 on there. Grain weight bullets, anything from 150 to 180 grain bullet is good. Anything over that, caribou bones are hollow. The rounds have a tendency to go through. The animal's still going to die, but it doesn't quite have the impactful shock. It doesn't necessarily give it time to open up inside. But obviously, guns are very personal, just like knives. You kind of need to figure out which one best suits you for up there. I run poly stocks. Any coating, you're going to be in weather. And when we take you out on the boat, I don't really want to bring a case. So I know that everybody's going to fly up. They're probably going to have an aluminum case, a Pelican case. We're going to leave those at the boat launch. It's added extra baggage that we don't need. We don't need to take out. If you are going to bring any cases, one of the best ones is just a simple 4-wheeler Copeland case. They're light, they're dimensional to the gun, quite simple. You can still put it in there if you're worried about it. But like I said, I'm not a big fan of taking cases out. I'm definitely not into taking Pelican cases out. A lot of guys also will bring them in the big Pelican cases and then go right to a soft side case. Some we can throw in the boat. They do make PVC versions of this, which are great too. But you definitely need to look at your weaponry. Make sure you're prepared. It's gonna get wet at some point. I've had this gun underwater for a week before, and brought it out of the water and cleaned it and didn't have any issues with rust. So I think if you're good on maintenance and you take care of them, there's no issues. One thing I do carry in the field, which some of you flying from out of state might have an issue with, but I do love jet boils. They are a handy thing to keep on you. You can boil water, you make coffee. It's all a self-contained unit. This boils 2 liters of water in under 3 minutes. They do have a fuel source. It threads right in. I don't know what the airline rules are for fuel sources. That's something you need to check on, but one great thing to keep in the field, just in case, or if you like hot water for some reason all the time. I keep one with me just because. Another thing is probably a med kit. This is my sort of camp med kit. It's got everything in it from bandages to sutures to whatnots. A simple small first aid kit to bring with you would be good. Another thing that you should look at bringing, even though we're going to have 15 hours of daylight, is a simple headlamp or a flashlight. You obviously won't be hunting at night, but you might be packing back out in the evening, and it's just always handy to have something. Nothing fancy, just something so you can see in front of you when you're walking. I also carry a Wyoming knife. We go back to the knives for a second. Great for, it's got a gut hook on it, great for skinning, things like that. Very sharp knife, interchangeable blades. Rangefinder. If you can, bring a rangefinder. It'll really help you associate the difference in tundra, so you don't make that mistake. I don't think you need a rangefinder that goes past 800 yards, personal preference. This is nothing fancy, but it works. Definitely something waterproof is good as well. Knife sharpener. Knife sharpener, something to have. Once again, nothing fancy. Something to keep your knife sharp while you're working meat. Light, small, compact. This one in particular is called Work Sharp. It'll do everything from fish hooks to the diamond to the honing to flat plate leather. So definitely something to look at. And then a water bottle. Anymore, if you like things hot and cold, you'll find nothing better than Hydro Flask. You can put hot coffee in here in the morning, and it'll still be the same temperature it was when you put it in 6 o'clock that night. Same goes for ice. This will keep ice for up to 24 hours. It's a double chambered vacuum sealed system. When they came out, I haven't gone back since. Love these as water bottles, but a simple water bottle so you can carry water with you. Something to consider. The object is that all of this stuff, with the exception of what you're wearing out on the boat that day, goes into a dry bag, and your only separation should be the gun and maybe the outer frame pack. Everything else should fit into that dry bag. And I know this looks like a lot of stuff, and you're thinking, well, how? It's because most everything I have is stuffable. You like to be able to cram it in, compress it, cram some more stuff in, roll it up. Oddly enough, all of this together for a single person doesn't weigh more than 40 pounds. And that includes the sleeping, the extra gear, the scope, all of it. Doesn't weigh more than 40 pounds. And that's kind of a good number to look at. Everybody that comes up, you obviously are going to look at bringing coolers, maybe take your meat back, things like that. My suggestion is Igloo makes a 150 quart, 36 inch long cooler. You can take a caribou out in that cooler onto a plane, an entire caribou in there, bone in. Will fit into that 36 inch cooler. They'll last up to 48 hours on a plane, cold. We allow everybody to bring one cooler out on the boat with them. You can obviously bring more coolers in if you fly them in, but they'll need to stay at the boat launch. And we generally don't need coolers to transport meat back to the boat launch, so all the coolers could stay out there with the exception of maybe one for a party or a crew, where you bring some things that we may not provide. What we do provide in food, just so you're aware, everybody gets 2 standard MREs a day. And this is field food. It also allows you, you don't have to cook breakfast. You may not want to cook dinner that night. We give everybody 2 MREs a day for 7 straight days. If you eat them all, that's great. If you don't, that's up to you. Great for taking out in the field. Camp's amenities include, a cook stove. We've got dried goods, rice, beans, pancake batter, oatmeal. We've got the butter, oils, and seasonings there, and the cookery. So, with the exception of providing meat and soda and things like that you may want, we've got everything else there. So that one cooler you'd bring out, maybe you want sandwiches instead of an MRE. You can go ahead and bring out some fresh meat, things like that you want for that week there. However, fresh meat is available. Obviously, you kill a caribou, you got fresh meat. And the world-class fishing up there is unparalleled. The Arctic grayling average 25 inches up there. The Dolly Varden come in, type of salmon, can get up to 15 pounds, and they're great eating. And then we also have Arctic char, which are fantastic. You can catch, there's no limit to the amount of fish you can catch up there and keep. So they make great evening meals. And like I said, other than that, we provide everything else except for the absolute fresh meat. So that's kind of on you guys doing your thing out there DIY.